Good afternoon from Sacred Space at Titania's Realm. It's 12:31 p.m. on the 6th of July 2024, and it's a very beautiful sunny day but with a cold blustery wind. So I've brought Miss Charlie back inside. I had her out in the garden, and being a free bird, which she likes to be a free bird, don't you, Charlie? She's, well, Mama T, you like to be a free human too. Yes, I know. We like to run wild and free and sometimes dance. And on the topic of the wild dance, well, my darlings, my babies, my angels, my earth angels, my sweet cherished ones, and other interdimensional entities. Got to cover all bases, people of earth. And birdies. Don't forget the birdies, says Charlie. Don't forget about us, planet Earth. We were here long before you. You got to look after us. Indeed we do. We got to look after all sentient beings on planet Earth. Even the snakes, we just don't want them in our bathroom or eating Charlie, because that would be an ignominy that Mama T might not come back from. She says, don't mention the carpet python, Mama T. He's sleeping now because he's in hibernation, but come spring, he'll be chasing my assets again. I know, Charlie. They all want to chase your assets come springtime. Yes. I won't say it's too dark, but I just, a mad thought ran through my head, a song from the Producers, Springtime, for Hitler and Germany, and it's dark, but it's funny. It's taking the piss out of, the Nazis. But anyway, I don't know why that, when I said springtime and chasing assets, why that little vignette floated through my mind. But we're going to go ding and slough it the fuck off, because we don't want any negativity in our beautiful paradisical day, do we, darlings? No, we do not. Anyway, where was I? On the subject of the dance. I had the most magical, wonderful night last night. Big thank you to Ramjet, who were playing at the Brooklyn Standard, as they do every fortnight. And I turned up in my lovely long leopard print dress someone gave me recently, and my underbust, and my studded bikie boots, and my purple tights, and I didn't wear my top hat. I actually regretted not wearing it though, because my head was a bit cold last night. It was a good night to wear that hat. But anyway, I had my usual flower in my hair, and so we proceeded when the band started. Proceeded with the dance. Oh, and just while they were setting up, my friend Juddy, who's the bass guitarist in Ramjet, said, "Hold my guitar," which is, by the way, a huge honour. Even I was like, no one in the band has ever asked me to hold their guitar before. I was well impressed. And so he goes, "You can play it if you want to." And I didn't realise that thing is actually quite heavy. He put it into my arms, his baby, his little baby, his work instrument, his creativity, handed it to me like a child, and I just went, oof. I didn't drop it, but I felt the weight, I was like, what? I said, "Juddy, I didn't realise this guitar was so heavy." And then he's got to do this kind of, yoga postures and kind of unusual acrobatic dance he does with his heavy fucking guitar all night. Plus play it without missing a beat. Oh, I'm well impressed. My darlings. I'm well impressed. Anyway, and of course I help out a little bit, voluntarily, and getting them set up because they swap over from the band that's leaving, the earlier band, the Mike Beale band, to you guys. They were wonderful too. I got to see their last hour, or their last half hour. And so I got there at 10:30, something like that. Anyway, it doesn't matter what time I got there, but I'm going a bit earlier to, resolve some of my parking issues, and so I get to see the band that's finishing, and then there's this chaos of the changeover, right? And Jodie even looked at me and went, "It's chaos," and I went, "As usual." So anyway, I helped out quite happily, of my own volition, moving the guitar cases, and then at the end of the night when we finished, I moved them back so they could just quickly put the guitars in the case and not have to go running around chasing after things when I'm standing right there and can just slide it across to them. So he's like, "Somebody should pay you," and I joked, "Show me the money," but it's just a joke because I'm so well loved and protected and respected and cared for and admired and tolerated at times by the Brooklyn Standard, to the staff and management and whoever the owners are. I don't know who they are, and best I don't know actually. But then it can't be seen to be, nepotism or favouring one customer over the other, right? Am I right? But anyway, the staff treat me so kindly with such sweetness. And it's like a home away from home for me now. It really is. I'm like, I look forward to my Friday evenings out where I get to be wild and free. If I could, I'd bring Charlie, but she doesn't do the wild dance at night. As soon as the sun goes down, she goes to bed. But if you were a crazy wild bird like Mama, you'd come dancing with me. There'd be lorikeet shit everywhere though, so that's not a good idea, Charlie. No, we're not taking you dancing with me. But I could just have this vision of me in my top hat with a cigar out the corner of my mouth, which I very rarely smoke, by the way, because, fucked up lungs, with my bird on my shoulder looking like an old pirate queen. It was just this image that presented to me, yes, Papa Legbar is here, inspiring me in my eccentricities, am I right? Anyway, I just had that image of it. I actually quite like the idea. I quite like the idea of that, Charlie. You coming dancing with me? And then you could give me the dickhead alert early in the piece because you have a good radar. You could say, "Mama, don't talk to that one. He's a dickhead. Talk to that one. I like that one. He can be my daddy." You could be my little matchmaker, couldn't you, Charlie? She's like, "No, Mama T, this is a dickhead-free zone. We've kept it a dickhead-free zone for 10 years. Don't invite any dickheads into my life, Mama." I promise I won't, Charlie. I'm trying very hard not to, but the temptation is real. It's the life force coming back into full blooming again. The temptation is real. On the subject of temptation, this lovely, gorgeous young man appeared towards the end of the night. Now, bear in mind, towards the end of the night, they're drunk and they've got goggleitis. And it wouldn't matter who was standing there. If they've got tits and ass and a corset on and they're strutting their stuff, you look eminently gorgeous to them because goggleitis, am I right? So anyway, this young man, very tall, but very handsome young man, probably around about 28, 30, so old enough to be one of my sons, or if I ever had sons, which I didn't, by the way, but it is what it is. And don't get me wrong, I'm happy I had daughters, but I'm just saying, could have been one of my kids. So anyway, he's standing, and when men are being a bit lascivious, they have this intensity where they just kind of stare at you a bit. So I'm like, I didn't put my hand up, but I felt like it. I'm just like studiously ignoring him because towards the end of the night, by the way, I'm in my zone from dancing for hours, and I'm in semi-trance, sometimes full trance, but not all people aren't always aware of that, of course. And I'm like doing my performance art to all the music, So I'm not interested in men coming to leer at me, by the way. Even if it was like in daylight hours down the shops or anywhere. I hate being leered at. I find it violating and disrespectful. But, young one I don't think was trying to be disrespectful. He was just looking at me like this. Anyway, he approaches me. It took him a while to approach me. I think he was egged on by his friend, to be honest. And then he comes up to me and says, "You're amazing." "Oh, thank you very much," I said, very schoolmarmishly. And he goes, "No, really, where have you been? I've never seen anyone like you. You're just amazing," which was very kind to affirm his, ideology that I might be amazing. And I might and I might not, depending on how many tipples he's had all night. But I have to say, I was feeling pretty amazing last night, so I accepted the compliment with good grace, and I said, "Oh, thank you." I said, "Oh, well, I'll tell you where I've been." He goes, "Where's that?" I said, "I'm always here on a Friday night." And he's took that as a come on, of course. Have to be careful. But I didn't mean it that way. I just was being truthful, And anyway, so he starts dancing beside me and moves in closer and closer, as men will do. And I'm like keeping kind of an eye. And Juddy, my friend Juddy in Ramjet's also keeping an eye over me, which I really appreciate you, Juddy, doing that, by the way, because, Mama T in semi-trance, I'm not always fully conscious of how lascivious they're going to be. Usually I am, but I was happy last night. I was happy and I was feeling free and wild, and I was also looking and thinking, pity he's young enough to be one of my babies, because, nice hunk of male, that. I'm starting to notice, which is a long time. It's been a long time since I even noticed. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just observe and notice, but I'm not going to go anywhere because I've made a promise to myself. There won't be any of that kind of behaviours in my dance space where I'm protected and loved so beautifully. And, why ruin things for myself by indulging in sexual frotterings with people that are not genuine anyway? It would just be a recipe for disaster, and I'm not prepared to do that, either to myself or to my reputation or to my club or to my friends, who we all work together to build this beautiful vibe where I'm safe and protected, and that's the prima facie thing that I need to keep in mind. So I'm looking at this handsome young man, quite sort of indulgently, but also a bit circumspect, given that it was late in the evening, around about 1ish. And anyway, and men being men, got to push the envelopes, move closer and closer. Proceeds to put his arm around my waist, which the first time I was sort of okay with, but there was just a very slight minimalist twitch in my face, which Juddy, who had turned to face me, just marked a little bit of because don't take ownership over my body, people of Earth, especially when I'm in the zone, in my wild dance zone and persona. But anyway, I thought, well, because I'd been friendly to him, I thought he's assuming that it's okay to be, overly intimate with me. And he wasn't grabbing or pulling at me like the motherfucker at the Fitzies the previous week did. So I thought it's no harm in putting your arm, friendly around someone's waist. So that was okay. And I just kind of nodded. And anyway, he removed his arm. And I'm not quite sure why he removed his arm. But anyway, and then he went to put his arm around me a second time. I didn't react. Again, I didn't react. I just kind of turned my head slightly like this. But my beautiful friend Juddy, I love you, Juddy. I love you and Ness and Nathan and the drummer, I don't know his name, And I know, I'm slow learning names, people. And I love alter egos, of course. And I love how you look after me, make sure I have a good time, but I also contribute to the vibe with my wild dance, and we have this symbiotic relationship now where we build up and ramp up each other's energy, and we're joyful, and the crowd just loves it. And, you know, occasionally the men think they can grab me or try and seduce me or have some kind of physical intimacy with me, which it wasn't harmful. It was really just an arm around my waist. However, the second time he puts his arm around my waist, you know, just around, just hand, nothing actually all that inappropriate, but Juddy's up on the edge of the stage with the guitar, and like an avenging angel of wrath is like looking at this guy, and he backed off like a long dog. He backed off. He got the hint then and there. Don't mess with the Tanya. And I didn't have to say a thing. Usually I'm like, yeah, that don't touch me, or it's too much. So I was so impressed by that, and I thought how delightful that I'm so loved and protected, by the way. And anyway, young one went and sat behind me after that and just watched from behind, and I don't know what happened after that. The night finished and I went home, but I made sure to go and shake Juddy's hand, and we just nodded. We were just like kind of holding hands like this and looking into each other's eyes and nodding, because he knows that I appreciated that he was protecting me. And, you know, also they gave me a wonderful gift. They know my favourite song is Zombie, the band's, and they kept it for the very last song. And as soon as I just looked up at him and I just went, to you, Johnny, and he's like, and off I went. But, you know, my friend Scott from Alter Egos has asked me to not do the 363 mosh, which damages my neck, and, well, then my neck's already feckin' damaged. What's the difference? But he's implored me and admonished me multiple times now that I'm not allowed to do the mosh. But Ramjet haven't told me I can't do the mosh. So my mischievous self thought, fuck it, I could do the mosh, and like, who would know, right? Am I right? But I looked up at Juddy, and I just did the head bop and the side to side, and then I just started to do it, and then I just went stopped myself. It is so hard for me to dance my war cry, defiant, rebellious dance without doing the full head flip and the mosh. So I was pulling back and pushing out like the Tsum Tsum, pulling back and pushing out and pulling back and pushing out. And then for the last part of the song, because I couldn't do the mosh, I did this little hopping up and down, jumping up and down, and I did it in a complete circle, and then I did it in another complete circle, and I was like, there isn't a lot of room, by the way, to dance in that position that I cleave to at the Brooklyn Standard. There's not a lot of room to do the full, wild, expansive, eagle type dance that I like to do at times. So I thought, well, fuck it, I'll just make the most of the space I have got. And so I bounced up and down, and then there was an older couple, like my age group, behind me, and the man was just looking at me like this, because of course it looks mad, but you know, I've been dancing that particular dance for a long time.